John here. So I had a letter written to my future self that I had done my senior year of high school that I was able to open in 2020. It arrived a little bit early, and I remember shortly before I moved out of my parents' house and made this trek to the West Coast in 2016, I'd written a letter to myself 5 years in the future, and it was meant to be open on April 27th, 2021, and I misplaced it, and I thought I lost it, and I was sad about it, but I let it go. And then today, I needed to find an X-Acto knife in my stuff. I didn't find the X-Acto knife, but I found the letter, so I thought I would open it on camera, because I have a hunch it's to do with acting and seeing how my career is going, maybe some life things. God, this is long. That's what she said. I didn't really folded this. Okay, and I wrote this, April 27th, 2016. Dear John, on April 21st, 2021. April 27th, sorry. It's been 5 years. My greatest wish for you is that you're happy, healthy, and passionate about something. I know a lot can change in just 5 years. You are currently, 2016, under the impression that you're going to move to Vancouver and become an actor. If that doesn't work out, it's okay. I'm proud of you for trying. I don't know how to give up. I don't know if that was self-sabotaging talk or what, that I was going to give myself grace if I didn't make it work. Anyway, did you publish any of your books or plays? No, I tried. Have you written any more? I haven't written. No, I wrote a couple more plays. I went back and I finished my book, and I've written a crap ton of screenplays. Even if writing remains a hobby, I hope you keep with it if it makes you happy, which it does. Currently, you live with mom and dad on insert address. Ben lives on the other side of Lancaster City. Amanda's been in Arkansas for 7 months. Amanda now is back in Pennsylvania. Bobby's about to finish his sophomore year at Kutztown. Bailey, 12 or 13 years old, is practically deaf but still very energetic. And Ruka, Ben's cat, is with mom and dad. So Ruka is still with my parents to this day. She was the runt of a litter Ben had gotten out of a trash can. And Bailey passed away in 2019 on closing night of a play I did about a boy whose beagle dies. So that was brutal, but now I have 2 dogs of my own. Dad redid the stairs, black and white railings, and a gray foyer. We three, you, mom, and dad, redid the backyard where your pets are buried and planted grass and some small plants, and Dad cut the Comcast cable by mistake. I remember that, and they never came out to fix it, so he's like, screw Comcast. He planted a tree there instead in case anyone wants Comcast in the future that might move in there after us. You work at insert restaurant where your coworkers and managers love you, yet you have unreasonable anxiety sometimes and fear getting fired. It was a dog-eat-dog world in Pennsylvania. They're not nice there, especially at the restaurant that I was at. It was across the street from a mall, and they were impatient, greedy, didn't tip, and they would often try to get people fired for BS. And management, it was here or there if they would keep you or not. You've been with this company for 3 years, so you are glad to hopefully move on soon. well, I tried twice, it didn't work, but it's fine because it's helping you pay for your car right now. Allergies suck. You just got them for the first time this year, and only your right contact sticks to your eyelid. I hope you grow out of this wishful thinking. So I had an infection at that point, and I had to do eye drops for like 3 months before I could wear contacts again. But John, in the past, there is a worldwide pandemic, and you get standby pay, and it pays for LASIK, and it changes your life for the better. You do a weekly web show called Amazingly Average with advice from Amazingly Average authors and actors. You have 13 subscribers and average about 5 views per video. Ha ha ha. Maybe if you stick with it, you'll have 20 subscribers by the time you read this. I got way more subscribers, like 200 more, maybe a couple months after this, because I started doing recaps for MTV Scream. The rest is history. I'm going to be resuming Amazingly Average in the coming month or two, which is exciting. I'm going to talk about that. It's May, I think the 8th or the 9th or something when I'm recording this. I think it's the 9th because it's a little past midnight. I'm going to be resuming that show this month, now that I've dug myself out of a year and a half worth of turmoil. Despair. And we've got over 600 subscribers. It's really sweet. And never once have I ever asked somebody to subscribe to my channel or asked them to like a video, because I'm not that kind of girl. I'm not interested in that. You watch TV with your neighbor Rob most nights. He lives in the fancy townhomes near the Wise food store. Nobody says food store here, by the way. I get made fun of for that, but I found a grocery store that is called food store, for whatever the local neighborhood is. And I see Rob almost every time that I go back home. I didn't see him the last time I went home, but I've seen him the last few times before that. We usually drink wine and watch Walking Dead. Standards are Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Keeping Up Appearances with Mrs. Bouquet, and Scream, and Bob's Burgers. I didn't know we watched Bob's Burgers together. Okay. So I keep looking at the viewfinder just to make sure the battery's not dying on me. Because you only get to read a letter from your past for the first time once, I guess. You tried out for NBC's The Voice in February with House of the Rising Sun and were pretty mediocre, but you tried. I remember that. My throat dried out because I got nervous. If I did it again, I would do it completely differently, but, you know, that's also not my dream at this point, but I do write music for movies, so that's fun. Desiree Kissinger has a nice balcony on her first apartment. Sarah Cohen just got engaged to her boyfriend, Josue. Corey lives alone after rooming with Ben Bigansky. Didn't work out. Remember, that got messy. You and Bobby witnessed a break-in at Walmart on Christmas Eve, and perhaps the cops caught the guys, but you pulled away before you saw the robbers leave. That was a big recap there. Sarah also has kids now. She's got these twins. Still with Josue, married happily. I filmed their wedding for them. Desiree told me that she never wanted to see me ever again. Because she felt I was more interested in my career than being her friend. And I felt bad about it for a while until I wrote a poem about it, and I realized that I was always one that reached out to her. I always took the initiative. I was always driving to her. I always called her every time I was there. I sent her emails. I would wish her happy birthday, and it was not reciprocated. So, while it makes me sad that I lost a friend that way, I understand that, you know, maybe you'll be the villain of somebody's story, but there's your side, their side, and the truth. And the truth is always somewhere between, though I think the truth is closer to my side, if I'm being honest. And I think Corey still lives at the same place he did when I wrote this. I saw him last time I was home. You came out to your family on July 16th, 2015, and to Facebook on New Year's Eve. Dad was pretty bad about it, but everything suddenly felt okay when he talked about having a bad depressive episode. We don't talk about it, but there isn't silent resentment anymore. I'm glad that it kind of got to this phase before I left, and it's great now. And my dad asks me about my partner now, and yeah, it was bad for a little while, but I'm just gonna give him grace with that because he was going through a lot at the time too, and he's always, loved me more than he was afraid of, whatever was going on in my life. You explored the abandoned factory near Desiree's old duplex. Yeah, that was actually an old silk mill. Survived the... We're going to redact that. That gives away what restaurant you're working at. And gave up soda for Lent, and it was freaking difficult. I don't drink soda anymore. I don't drink my calories because I'd rather eat them. And I do intermittent fasting. I do cut up the plastics that can't be recycled, like plastic film and like hard plastics that aren't 1 or 2, and I put them in soda bottles, so when I run out I get a bottle of soda and between Sam and myself drink it just so we can have a place to put more plastic. Okay. Here are some goals you hope you might achieve. Ooh, there are 16 goals. Let's see how many we get. Go on a date. Easy. Okay, did it. Date a guy for real. I did that. Date whoever you want, gender aside. Well, I've dated every gender I can think of since moving out here. Get your own apartment. I did that briefly. Now I cohabitate, but I did have my own place. Act on a professional film set, even if it's just as an extra. Well, John, you happen to get a principal character, and you are the 4th most called person to set. You had the 4th most filming days in that movie. It was a SAG film called Home Sweet Home. You did it. You still didn't get your name in the opening credits though, which that was kind of messed up, but whatever. Maybe learn the guitar for real. Well, you don't learn the guitar, but you do have to learn to play the piano. I'm sorry that we didn't advance in the guitar. I still have it. I just don't have time. I'm so sorry, John, in the past, but we'll work on it. I got a violin, though, so I want to learn that first. Publish anything. A poem, short story, book, play, whatever. Well, we didn't get it published, but you have sold a couple short scripts. Granted, they were just 5-page scripts for somebody you knew in college, but you did it. Keep writing music. Well, I don't write sing-song music. I did 2. I did one for that movie about the girl that was going to jump off a bridge and her bully talked her out of it. And then I wrote another one for Justin on Night recently. Be happy. You had to go to therapy to get back there. You were aggressively happy for a long time until you realized you were broken, and then you went and you got help. And you had a really rough year in 2022, but things are turning up roses. It is easy to be happy though when you're not in debt and when you pay off college. It's so easy. Keep running and exercise. I need to get back into running. I haven't run that much this year since this past winter. I only run, I think, 4 times, and my legs are killing me, so I got to get back into that. But I do exercise still. I fell out of it to help dig myself out of all the obligations I set up for myself this last year, and slowly getting back into it. Call mom and dad every now and then, siblings too. Well, I don't call my siblings, I text them, but I do call my mom and dad on occasion. I call dad almost every time I have a question. I call on everyone's birthdays, and I make a point to call home every now and then. And I mailed a card to my mom, because Mother's Day is coming up. Keep in touch with, and then I listed 2 people I would consider best friends at the time. The circumstance with one of them is that it's a matter of I always reach out, but that person doesn't ever reach out to me. So it's sad. It's really sad that you lose almost all of your friends because you understand that a lot of people are only in it for friendship out of convenience, and if you don't live by them, they're not interested in maintaining that friendship. They won't write letters, they won't get back to you. And then the other friend is someone, first was from college, this friend is from high school and previously, and I was very much just a friend of convenience for them, and I was always the only one to reach out. So one of the last times I was home, I found out from Bobby that, they were in town, but they didn't reach out to me, so I decided I was going to stop trying to reciprocate that friendship. Not, there's no animosity towards them or anybody else at this point. It's just, it happens, and I understand, when you grow up, your priorities change, and you got a lot of stuff you got to focus on, because we only go around this life, around this planet one time, so you got to make it count, and you just have to do what makes you happy, and if you're just ships crossing in the night, that's what it is, and you just have to be grateful for the time that your paths intersect. So, I will always be a better person for having known these two people, but I don't keep in touch with them anymore. I talked to one of them a couple years ago, though. Is it still out of the question to dream that someday you'll learn how to play Devil Came Down Georgia on violin? It is not out of the question because I got a violin. Because somebody's relative died. And I got a violin out of it because they had so many violins. If you ever get a dog, A, don't. B, adopt an old one that's gonna be otherwise euthanized. So that was the plan, but Thor, who we have now, we never knew as a puppy, and then we saw a dog that looked like what Thor looked like as a puppy. We went to visit, and it was game over, so we got Jane. So I broke both of these rules, and I'm so sorry drawing the past, but the goal in the future is to just take care of old dogs. So I will do that when I can, when I have a house. Move to Canada. This will either happen really soon or never. Haha. Yeah, it didn't work out because you couldn't get a permanent resident status. Reconnect with God. Ooh, this is timely. My relationship with religion has been on life support for a while. I still go every week. Granted, it's just been online since the pandemic, because last time I went in person, everyone was open mouth, hacking and sneezing on the Eucharist. The times are just so divisive right now that I struggle with the way people who call themselves God's followers will use it as a justification to treat people nasty. I can't stand by that. But I will never give up my relationship with God or whatever the idea or the essence or entity is that is responsible for the fabrics of everything that we know. But I consciously made a decision actually yesterday that I was going to fervently be like, no, we're not going away. We just need to figure out what our spiritual goals are for our life. You struggle with faith since coming out. Yeah, tell me about it. Believe in something greater. If it's just love or the universe, there's something always looking out for you. Something will always care. Laura from Pills, 2015. Okay, that's a quote from a play I wrote. Alright, last page. Sometimes you need to leave yourself a message in your server book for work. Everything's going to be okay, I promise. So I really had to do that because it was brutal. But thankfully, I'm so, since moving to Oregon, I've been so secure in my restaurant situation. Because customers around Portland are inhumanly patient, almost to a fault. They're very good, and people that complain about customers here, I feel like they're just out of touch because they don't understand how good they have it. I had to do that all the time though, and I kind of just think of Dory's mantra, just keep swimming, you know. Sometimes things get overwhelming. While it would be nice to have a boyfriend slash girlfriend to lean on for the hard times, you can stand on your own. You are brave and tenacious. I believe in you a whole lot. Everything can be taken away in the blink of an eye, so enjoy what you have and who you have every minute. Being happy is more important than being worried. Try your best and always try. You may or may not continue keeping the journal that you rarely update, so hopefully there'll be more to look back on your life than just this letter. Keep being stupid, awkward, and yourself. Sincerely, John Reddy at insert age here. I just got a little choked up there for a second at the end. I still do my journal. Granted, I only updated it, I think 7 or 8 times last year because it was a really freaking brutal year. I need to write a letter to myself another 5 years from now. I look forward to that. I was looking back on my old videos a couple of nights ago, and the kid that was doing amazingly average back then, I really like that guy. I think he's a great guy. I mean, the YouTuber way I was carrying myself was like a little cringeworthy. A lot of jokes and like editing and stuff was rough, but I really liked that guy. And then I cut to 2020 when I was like doing amazingly average every other week when I had Wi-Fi and I wasn't running out of data. And there was one part where I think it was still actually the most recent one, the very last one that I've done, where I said that I did a skit like twice and the footage kept getting wiped, and I'm like, I don't have it in me to do it again, and I'll be nice to myself, but I figure I owe it to myself to try to film the rest of the episode. I don't love who I've become since I moved to Oregon. There's been a lot of like roadblocks and like just hard stuff happening professionally and in the film community and in neighborhoods and stuff, and I don't love who I've become in some ways, because I feel like I've been quick to get very critical and judgmental of people and their choices and the way they want to live their life and their attitudes and their beliefs, and I would just get very short about things and very impatient, and I felt my light dim a lot, and I'm glad that I have all those old videos to look back to, because I love who that boy was before all this happened. And I mean, I'm still him, even though I have all, it's been 7 years, so all of the cells in my body have since died and been replaced since then, so technically I'm a whole new person. Life waits for no one. A lot of like really, really bad things, happen, sporadically throughout your life. We just lost our Uncle Joe last year. And you've missed all of your nieces and nephews being born. You lost a lot of friends, and there's also a lot of beautiful things. And those things, however few and far between they might seem sometimes, like my dog scratching at my door make it worth it. Hang on. Yeah. Dear John, from April 27th, 2016, this is your dog Jane, who is now 2 years old. Or almost 2. Are you 2 yet? Yeah, I think she's 2. Sorry, she's not old, but she's great. Even if she's bad. She's very wiggly and photogenic, and she's got a long neck on a tiny little head on a long neck. These wonderful things make it all worth it. So just keep going, and it's gonna work out, kid. We almost did everything on that checklist, and I think it's time to set a new set of goals for the next 5 years, and to be ferociously positive, and to be happy, and to be all those things that you want for yourself, and to be really sweet to yourself and talk nice to yourself. Because that's, I think, what I miss the most about that man, that boy, is that he treated himself so nice. And I feel like I don't do that sometimes to myself. A lot of the time, actually. But here's the new beginning.